So mycorrhiza fungi help in mineral uptake in the plant. So as you know, even the minerals are very important for the growth of a plant body. Biocontrol refers to the use of biological methods for controlling plant diseases and pests. Main source of biofertilizers are what? Bacteria, fungi and cyanobacteria. Hello dear students. Welcome back to the last session of this very interesting chapter called Microbes in Human Welfare. Myself, B. Shobarani from the Department of Biology, Vidyashram Pre-University College, the Temple of Excellence. What did we learn in the last session? In the last session, we studied about the role of microbes in sewage treatment. And also we studied about the role of microbes in the production of biogas. See, imagine how important these microbes are for human welfare. That is what is the chapter name, Microbes in Human Welfare. So they do help the human mankind in many ways. Just imagine the saprophytic bacteria, how it is helping the human mankind in decomposing the dead body of plants and animals, the dead organic matter, right? So what am I going to discuss in today's session? As I said in the last session, we'll be discussing about the role of microbes in biocontrol. Here, biocontrol, the role of microbe as a biocontrol agent and the role of microbe as a fertilizer. See how important even these microbes are. I think all of us know the vaccine. You know, how are the vaccines produced? By taking the weak strains of viruses only. How is the antivenom produced? Produced for the snake bite. The antivenom, how is it produced? How do they prepare this antivenom? By taking the small doses of those poison only, snake poison only, they'll prepare this antivenom. So like that. So imagine how important even these microbes are also for human mankind. Always we have the bad aspect of microbes and we think of them always in a bad way, that they are always disease causing, harmful to human mankind. But I think in this particular chapter called Microbes in Human Welfare, you would have got an idea how important this bacteria. Imagine in our daily life, for example, the curds what we use. Imagine if curdling of milk does not happen, then every day we would not have had curds for our food. As you know, in our daily food, I think curds is a must. So imagine lactobacilli bacteria, if it was not there, imagine, I think the curd concept only would not have been. Cheese, imagine all these, the milk products, byproducts of milk, how do we get? By bacteria. So now let us understand what is the role of these microbes and how do they act as biocontrol agents. I think here you can see in this beautiful picture the rat. You know, they are very dangerous animals, I can say. They destroy the whole crop. Imagine, you have heard about the Pied Piper story. Imagine, and you know, it is very difficult for the farmers to control this rats because they're going to eat the whole lot of food grains that is harvested, or even before harvesting also the whole food crop is destroyed. Now let us understand what is the role of microbes as biocontrol agents. So now let us see what is biocontrol. How do we define the word called biocontrol? By the very word itself will tell you what do you mean by bio living. Control means controlling them. So refers to the use of biological methods for controlling plant diseases, and pests. Pest means what? It might be an insect pest or even cockroach. I think all of us know cockroach also is a household pest. Right, even rat is also a pest. So what is biocontrol? How do we define the word called biocontrol? Biocontrol refers to the use of biological methods for controlling plant diseases and pests. And now depending upon the type of pathogens, what do you mean by pathogens? Pathogens are nothing but disease causing organisms. May it be viruses, it might be fungi, it might be bacteria, etc. So based on the type of pathogens, so depending upon the type of pathogens or organisms they destroyed, the chemical substances that are produced to destroy them are called as what? Herbicides. Used to control what? So that actually depending upon the type of pathogens or organisms they destroy, the biocontrol agents are produced. So the chemical substances that are what do you mean by that are known as herbicides? The very word itself will tell you. What do you mean by weed? Weed is nothing but an unwanted plant. Weed is nothing but an unwanted plant. So for example, parthenium is an unwanted plant. Is it of any use to human? Mankind? Instead, the pollen grains of the parthenium causes pollen allergy, asthma, etc., etc. So unwanted plants need to be removed. I think all of you know, even on the railway track, oxygen is sprayed so that it can destroy what? The unwanted plants. So for example, and we use a word called herbicides, which kill herbs, the unwanted plants, then fungicides, which is used to kill fungi, bactericides used to kill bacteria, nematicides, worms, worm killers, then rodenticides to kill rats, mice, etc. So we differentiate the chemical substances that are known to act upon a particular pathogen. Pathogen might be a weed, or the pathogen might be a fungi, or it might be an insect, or it might be a bacteria, or it might be a nematode. Nematode means what? Worm. Or it might be a rodent, that is rats. So based on that, the biocontrol agents are produced. So here we have herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, bactericides, nematicides, rodenticides. So one is what? Herbicides. Second one is what? Insecticides. Third one is what? Fungicides. Fourth one, bactericides. Fifth one, nematicides. Sixth is rodenticides. Please make note of all this point, not just listening, right? So these are the terms which you should know. Herbicides, that which kill what? Weed. Insecticides, kill insects. Then fungicides, kill fungi, which is disease causing. Then bactericides, kill bacteria. Then nematicides, which kill what? Worms. That is, nematodes means what? Worms. Then rodenticides, which kill what? Rodents, rats. Right. So what is biocontrol? Biocontrol refers to the use of biological methods for controlling plant diseases and pests. So depending upon the type of the pathogen, the biocontrol agents are there, like herbicides, like insecticides. Herbicides kill weed, that is unwanted plant. Insecticides kill insects. Then fungicides kill fungi, bactericides kill bacteria, nematicides kill worms, and rodenticides kill rodents and rats. So as I said, rodents or rats are of a great harm. They are very you can call them as like they are the ones which is going to destroy the whole human food grains. They are the ones which is going to destroy the food grains, and particularly to prevent the loss of food grain from this one. So definitely we need to add this rodenticides for the crops, so that they will not come and destroy the food crops. Moving on to the next. The microbial biocontrol agent is the bacteria. I think all of you know Bacillus thuringiensis. That is what we often use the word called BT. Bacillus thuringiensis. So the microbial biocontrol agent is the bacteria called Bacillus thuringiensis. This is a very important, which is usually asked in the exam. So the toxin that it produces, bacteria are transferred into the crop plants, which become resistant to insect pests. See, BT cotton. This bacteria is going to produce a toxin, and that toxin is going to through genetic engineering into the crop plants, and which become what? Disease resistant to pests. Very, very important. As I said, the very important concept of plant breeding is what? To produce plants or crops which are disease resistant. Instead of spraying fungicides, insecticides, etc., you can produce a plant which is disease resistant. That is the best way to avoid the pests. So, and like for example, we have this BT cotton. Next, baculoviruses. Here you can see in this picture, baculoviruses, multicapsid. They are nothing but nucleopolyhedrovirus. Here you can see, right, these are nothing but baculoviruses. So here, what are baculoviruses? This is also a term which is commonly used in the, asked in the exam. What are baculoviruses? Give an example. So what are baculoviruses? Baculoviruses are pathogens that attack insects and other arthropods. What are baculoviruses? They are the pathogens which are going to attack what? The insects and the arthropods. And majority of the baculoviruses are in the genus called what? Nucleopolyhedroviruses. Here you can see they are of the nucleopolyhedrovirus. So I repeat, so the microbial biocontrol agent, that is BT, that is Bacillus thuringiensis. And what is the use of this Bacillus thuringiensis? Written as BT, toxin producing genes of this bacterium are transferred into the crop plants, which become what? Resistant to insect pests. Like we have this BT cotton. Then what are baculoviruses? Baculoviruses are pathogens that attack what? Insects and arthropods. So majority of the baculoviruses belong to which genus? Nucleopolyhedroviruses. This is also very important concept from examination point of view. Next. Now let us understand the role of microbes as biofertilizers. Now you might have heard about a word called organic farming. Now we are going back to the good old method of using the organic manure for cultivation. Why? Because the adverse effects that are going to produce by using chemical fertilizers is really, I think you might have come across many places where many people have diseases because of consuming such food which is sprayed with chemical fertilizers, right? So like for example endosulfan, and it has proved fatal to many people. So now we are going back to the good old method of using the organic manure, and one such is what? Biofertilizers. Here you can see in this beautiful picture biofertilizer organisms, like we have this rhizobium bacteria, azotobacter, blue-green algae, then azospirillum, then mycorrhiza. All these are used as what? Biofertilizers. Like, right? Here now let us see what are these. Microbes as biofertilizers. What are, the very word itself will tell you. Bio means what? Using the organisms. So these are the organisms that enrich the nutrient quantity of the soil. I think all of you might have come across the nitrogen fixing bacteria like rhizobium bacteria. They fix the atmospheric nitrogen and enrich the soil fertility. Like we have this nostoc, we have that is the cyanobacterium, which is introduced into the paddy fields to enrich the soil fertility. More nitrogen, the growth of the crop will be more luxurious. So definitely I think it is going to enrich the soil fertility. Particularly like we have this organism that is going to enrich the nutrient quality of the soil. The main source of biofertilizers are what? Bacteria, fungi and cyanobacteria. As I said, what are the main sources of biofertilizers? Here you can see azotobacter, rhizobium, blue-green algae, azospirillum, mycorrhiza. The mycorrhiza is a fungi. So all these are used as what? As biofertilizers to enrich the nutrient value of the soil. So bacteria and cyanobacteria have the property of nitrogen fixation. They have the property of nitrogen, fixing the atmospheric nitrogen. While particularly mycorrhiza. So mycorrhiza fungi help in mineral uptake in the plant. So as you know, even the minerals are very important for the growth of a plant body. They have a role to play in various physiological processes of the plant body, may it be photosynthesis, respiration. So the minerals have a great role to play, and this mycorrhiza will help in the uptake of minerals. And I think all of us know rhizobium, as you call it, as symbiotic bacteria, which is usually found in the roots of leguminous plants. So they have the capacity to fix the atmospheric nitrogen. So they are usually found in the root nodules of leguminous plants. right? And they develop the ability to fix nitrogen when they are present inside the root nodules. So some of the sometimes you might have come across, like non-leguminous plants, you come across Frankia. So in non-leguminous plants also show symbiotic relationship with non-nitrogen fixing bacteria. Example, like we have this Frankia, and this Frankia is associated with root nodules of what? Alnus. This is also asked in exam. Frankia, it is associated with the root nodules of Alnus. Alnus is a non-leguminous plant. Non-leguminous plants. You might have come across legumes. They have the root nodules which have the rhizobium bacteria which fixes the atmospheric nitrogen. So what is the role of microbes as biofertilizers? As I said, these are the organisms that enrich the nutrient quality of the soil, and the main source of biofertilizers are what? Bacteria, fungi and cyanobacteria. Then as we know that bacteria and cyanobacteria have the property of what? Nitrogen fixation. So what is the function of mycorrhiza? Fungi help in mineral uptake in the plant. So rhizobium forms what? Symbiotic association with the roots of leguminous plants and help in fixation of the atmospheric nitrogen, thereby enriching the soil fertility. And we also come across, like, there are some nitrogen fixing which are present in non-leguminous plants also, like we have this Frankia present in non-leguminous plants like Alnus. Now, symbiotic nitrogen fixing bacteria, that is symbiotic nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. Here you can see the schematic representation. How? So here you can see the detritus food chain. Here you can see the burning of forest fuel wood and organic. So how the nitrogen is going back to the atmosphere, and from the atmosphere the nitrogen is fixed back into the soil, right? So here, as we know that cyanobacteria is nothing but what? Blue-green algae which form symbiotic association with several plants. Like for example, like lichens. I think all of you might have heard about this lichen. You know, lichen is also called as what? Pollution indicator. You don't come across lichen in the places where it is polluted. So it is also used as what? Pollution indicator. Then hornworts and azolla fern. So, and this azolla is a small fast growing fern that occurs floating on water. Then you might have come across Anabaena. Anabaena azolla, a cyanobacterium, live in the cavities of azolla leaves. And azolla, that is Anabaena symbiotic association, is of, as you know, it is of great importance to agriculture. So particularly the agriculturists will use this cyanobacteria, then azolla, for enriching the soil fertility so that they get more yield. So I think all of us know that the very important aim of the farmer is both quality and quantity. They have to maintain the quality of the crop or the food grains, and at the same time quantity is also a very, very important thing for a farmer. For the amount of money they have spent to grow that particular crop, they definitely need to have some they have to get more money. So for that sake, so quantity and quality is very, very important. So for that, they make use of this cyanobacteria. Then and the fern can grow in rice fields, as I said, paddy fields, because it does not and you know, these are the ones which is not going to interfere with the normal growth of the plant body. So it will not affect the crops in any way. So in other words, it is going to enrich the soil fertility. So now let us once again recollect back what is the role of this symbiotic nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. So as I said, a number of cyanobacterians like blue-green, like we use the other word for cyanobacteria is what? Blue-green algae, which form symbiotic association with several plants. For example, like we have azolla is a small fast-growing fern that grows floating on water. Then Anabaena, a cyanobacterium, live in the cavities of azolla leaves. Then Anabaena, as I said, symbiotic association is of great importance to agriculture. So the fern can grow in rice field because it does not interfere with the growth of the crop plots. So imagine how important these microbes are to mankind. So as I said, this chapter called Microbes in Human Welfare has a weightage of 6 marks. So 1 mark, 1 question they'll ask, and 5 marks, 1 question. But in 5 marks question, there are chances of asking split questions like 2 marks, 2 plus 2 plus 1. So even you may get 1 mark question or 2 marks question or a 5 marks question, because as I said, totally they might ask for 5 marks question, or they might split the questions. For 5 means what? 5 marks means what? For 5 marks, you'll have a split question. 2 plus 2 plus 1 is equal to 5. Or they might ask 3 plus 2 is equal to 5. So 1 marker, 1 question. 5 marker, 1 question. And as I said, even this chapter is also very important from examination point of view. As I said, like you have one guarantee question from this particular chapter. Now let us see what is this mycorrhiza as a fertilizer. So now we studied about cyanobacteria as a fertilizer. Now let us understand what is the role of mycorrhiza as a fertilizer. So as you know, it is a symbiotic association of certain fungi with the roots of certain bearing plants. So we have glomus, which forms mycorrhiza. As you know, mycorrhiza is nothing but a fungi. We have 2 types called endomycorrhiza, which is outside and inside. So endomycorrhiza and ectomycorrhiza. Then fungi means what? We have this, we will come across hyphae. You can see in this picture, you can see the hyphae, right? Hyphae penetrate the root cells. See what is the role played by this mycorrhiza. So the fungal, you call it as a fungal symbiont, and here we find that absorbs phosphorus from soil and passes it on to the plant. So like cyanobacteria fixes the atmospheric nitrogen, and mycorrhiza has a capacity to even help in mineral uptake, particularly like phosphorus, and plants having such associations show the other benefits also. Like what? Like resistant to root-borne pathogens. Like we have shoot-borne pathogens, root-borne pathogens. What do you mean by shoot? They use the word called shoot borers. They make a hole in the, and even root borers, they make a hole in the stem, and obviously it is going to affect the plant in its growth. Like resistant to root-borne pathogens, tolerance to salinity, tolerance to drought, and overall increase in plant growth and development. See how important role these mycorrhiza also have, and imagine what great importance they have to act as a biofertilizer. Hope you have understood all the very interesting concepts what I have explained in this very important chapter called Microbes in Human Welfare. So in today's session, I have completed this chapter called Microbes in Human Welfare, which has a weightage of how many marks? 6 marks. But as I said, all the concepts are very important. You don't know what type of questions they are going to ask, but imagine, like you remember I have told you that this is important, that is important. Please please concentrate on those things which I have mentioned, so that those are the ones which is commonly asked in the board examination. Each and every chapter of your second PUC biology syllabus is important from examination point of view, as you are not writing semester scheme. It's an annual exam. So right from the chapter 1 to the last chapter, 16 chapter, you have 16 chapters. So even till 16 chapter, you might get the question. So each and every chapter is important from examination point of view. So in the coming session, I'll be starting with a new chapter called chapter 13, which is quite interesting, like the chapter called Microbes in Human Welfare, that is organism and population. So I'll be back in the coming session with a new interesting chapter called organism and population. So till then, goodbye and thank you.